Welcome to another Baby Theater. Today, we're going to actually talk about Sluggery. You see, Sluggery can move whichever way he wants to go in the forest. Yeah, he can move anywhere he wants to go. He can go left, he can go right, he can go up, he can go down. But guess what? He doesn't actually know which way to go. So you got to tell him, Miles, which way should I go? Which way should I go, Miles? Okay. Miles says, go up. Ooh, oh, no, your other up. Oh, there you go. There we go. Yeah, is that not a fun story? Is that not a fun story? He's like, hit the pause button. Hit the pause button. Okay, I'll tell you a real story. So one day, Sluggery was traveling through the woods, right? And he was having a grand old time, and he was a little depressed, though. He's kind of sad. He said, and somebody asked him, I think it was Timothy, actually asked him, he said, well, Sluggery, you look a little down, buddy. What's going on, bro? And Sluggery says, well, nothing really. I mean, everything in my life's pretty good, but I don't feel good. I don't feel like having a good time today. Yeah? Can you relate? Yeah? Can you relate? I can tell. I can see that you relate. Yeah. I can see that you relate. Sometimes Sluggery had all kinds of thoughts. And he said, well, I think what would help me would be a treasure chest. So he started walking around. Timothy says, well, I've heard of this treasure chest you're talking about. And the other thing I've heard is you don't want to open it. It's not good to open, right? Because sometimes what can happen is, have you ever seen the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark? I don't think you have yet. But like, these people open this box, right? And they were like, what's in the box? And they opened this box and their face melted off. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't a good time. So, Timothy kind of explained that and said, well, so hopefully when you find that box, it doesn't make you melt your face off, right? And Sluggery kind of was attached to his face. In more ways than one, And so Sluggery was like, man. So Sluggery actually went over to Timothy. And Timothy was like, nah, don't worry about what Timothy said. The likelihood that when you open the box it's going to melt your face off is pretty unlikely. It did happen one time. But the repeat issue, I've opened a lot of boxes in my times, and I've never had my face melt off. But you could see that, part of his face, you could kind of tell that he actually had to put it back on at least one other time. That was just kind of how Timothy was, And so what ended up happening is Timothy was like, it's no big deal, And so Timothy said, go ahead and go for it, man. I believe in you. So Sluggery kind of had this decision to make, between either A, getting his face melted off, or B, not getting his face melted off. And, there's this experiment that that somebody did. His name is Schrodinger, and he actually proposed that uh, that there would be basically a vial of poison in this box, and it could trigger at any time. It's just kind of a poison bomb, you know. It could trigger any time, a random time, you know, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, maybe 3 years, right? And so the cat, there was a cat in the box with the poison, right? And so the cat is basically considered both dead and alive, you know. So it's either it's both until you view it, you know. And that's really you know, that's a good proponent. I mean, that's a good you know, observation, because sometimes things actually do act that way, where when you're looking at them, they react differently than when you're not looking at them. Okay, and so you have to assume that they're either acting one certain way or another. So, and because you don't know either one, you have to consider both at the same time. Okay, so like plus or minus, for example, you know, you don't know which one it is. You could be either one. Could be either one. Well, anyway, so so that's kind of how this treasure chest was, right? Like, you know, Sluggery was basically either dead or alive, you know, when he would find this treasure chest and open it. So Sluggery was like, you know, here's what I'll do. He's like, I'll find the treasure chest first, and then I'll make my decision. You know, I won't decide now whether I open it or not. I have to find it first. I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, you know. That's what he said. He said, well, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. Now, there was a bridge. He went ahead and crossed it, and then you know what he did? He burned the bridge. And he said, well, I guess we'd burn the bridge when we get there. And then he buried a hatchet into it. And you know what they said about that? They said he pressed F to pay his respects to the bridge. So, you know what happened then, right? After he passed through the bridge, he went to the other side. This is like a ravine too, so I mean, how's he gonna get back? You know, we don't know. We don't know. He had to burn the bridge though. Well, he didn't have to, but he kind of wanted to. He was a little pyro, you know, kind of wanted to. And so, you know, he was like, okay, let's just keep searching. So he kept searching. He looked under a few rocks. He looked under a couple of turtles that were there. And then he looked under the grass, which was kind of weird because he had to dig it up. So it was like under the grass. And it was like loam grass too. So he kind of had to fight the grass. You know, it was like a battle. Like loam grass is nothing to joke about. I mean, that's like some dangerous grass. You know, that'll just grab you, eat you up without even thinking, you know. But, you know, Sluggery's dealt with this kind of stuff in the past, and he was able to outsmart the loam grass, you know, because the loam grass was actually really, it was kind of tied to that bridge. And so what happened is it was kind of a chain reaction, you know. Even though the bridge was burned, like the loam grass eventually completely burned up, because it was actually the fire started at the beginning of the loam grass, which was on the bridge. So it's a good thing that he burned that bridge. You know, I mean, did he know to do that? And that's how he outsmarted the loam grass? It's hard to say. You know, Sluggery, sometimes you think he's doing something random, and really, he's actually doing something incredibly smart that nobody would ever think about. And you know, that's really the important thing to think about, is he's either really smart or doing random stuff. And because it's either or, it's both, because you can't tell. You know, so you have to consider both at the same time. So he did do it randomly, and it did and it did make him look very, very intelligent and very smart. You know? So then what happened? So he didn't find anything under the long grass. He actually traveled and traveled, and he looked up into the sky, right? And the sky was kind of weird, like the sun kind of smiled down on him, and it said, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You know I love you, oh how I love you. So don't take my sunshine away." And then Sluggery, he just blotted out the sun real fast. So he did take the sunshine away. And, so it was all darkness all through the realm at that point. But, that was, see, Sluggery, his eyes can see much better in the dark because he's actually a nocturnal creature, okay? And so he's able to see much better in the dark. So guess what? First thing he sees is the treasure chest. He does. He found it immediately. He's oh my gosh. Now, he said that he'd cross the bridge when he got there, and he did, and he burnt the bridge, okay? So now it's kind of like a question of whether he's going to open it or not, right? I mean, it's either A, his face is melted off, and B, his face is not melted off. So it kind of like is a win-win, or a lose-lose, depending on how you think about it. I guess a win-lose, right? Like win and lose at the same time. So, so there he was, facing this issue of whether his face was going to get melted off or not. And so what he did was he goes, you know what? Maybe, I've never had my face melted off, he says. So maybe I'll try it and see if I like it. Maybe it's something that, they say try new things every day, And if you can't try it, then don't try it. But if you can try it, might as well, right? So what he did was he took the sun out of his pocket and he put his face on it. And it melted his face right off, clean off. Sluggery's face was like, blah, blah, And he said, oh, I now know how Tomothy feels, because Tomothy had his face melted off, but he put it back on, no problem. Now, the point is, Sluggery didn't even open the chest yet, and his face is melted off. So he already did the damage, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like if the cat poisoned himself before he went into the box. Then you say, what's in the box? A dead cat, right? Because that he poisoned himself already. So it's and. It's and. So it's just is instead of isn't. So anyway, Sluggery put his face back on. And, he was kind of like, well, it felt pretty good. So, he was kind of like excited about it now. And at this point, he knows he likes it. He knows he enjoys it. He opens up the treasure chest. And guess what? There's just some gold in there. Some gold. Some gold. That's it. And, Sluggery, he doesn't utilize gold as a currency. You see? They say gold standard. He doesn't even know what that means, because gold isn't the standard of anything in his realm, Gold's kind of like coal, Would you want some coal? Only if you're trying to steam train. Only if you're trying to steam train, right? Then you'd want some gold. But otherwise, you wouldn't, okay? Do you see what I'm saying here? Gold is like coal. It's like fool's gold. If fool's gold was actual gold, and gold meant nothing, And so Sluggery was kind of disappointed because he was looking forward to his face getting melted off again. That's what he wanted. He wanted his face to get melted off. You know what I'm saying? That's just facts. So, that's facts. He said, I didn't even get my face melted off. He said, my face is back on now. It was melted off one time because I pulled the sun out of my pocket. But now it's like nothing's going on. some stupid gold. Do you want my gold, Miles? Here you go. You can have my gold. Thank you. Thank you. Sluggery said, thank you. Get my gold now. He said, and that's what I made this oatmeal out of. You know, I made it out of the gold that Sluggery gave me. That's how you're able to eat right now. Hmm? Yeah. That's how you're able to eat. Sluggery gave us the gold to win. And that's what you're eating right now. The gold standard oatmeal. You know, that's what they say. I see some hair. I see some oatmeal in your hair. Some oatmeal gold in your hair. So I'm going to clean that off real quick. Get you a bath going soon. Yeah. Okay, here's some more. Nom nom. So, yeah. So that's kind of Sluggery's journey, you know. So now the trek back, right? Trek back will be part 2 though. So see you guys next time.